Hello there guys, welcome to another of my live videos, and on this video tonight there is lots to currently negotiate about. So I am going to be talking with you about Paul Pogba, going to be keeping you up to date of what's going on with him. Also going to be talking with you a bit more about Jadon Sancho, and also going to be talking with you about Mauricio Pochettinho. But before I delve into them topics, I will be starting with Paul Pogba. So according to a number of media outlets, Paul Pogba feels good in his recovery 1 month after he had the surgery on his ankle. Of course, Paul Pogba has been out with injury this season, so in that aspect, his appearances have been limited. I think he's only played around 8 games this season for Manchester United. I think the last game Paul Pogba did play was on Boxing Day. There's a chance that he could be back for the Chelsea game on Monday, but I think it's more than likely, he will be involved in the game against Manchester City, which I think is on the 8th of March and that. But when Paul Pogba does come back anyway, we will look much better in that midfield. Also got the same perception on Scott McTominay. Paul Pogba, of course, was not part of the warm weather training camp in Spain. He obviously, the main explanation is because obviously he's continuing his rehabilitation from his ankle injury. Of course, he had an injury earlier on in the season, but this current injury he's had is totally comparison to the one that he had earlier on in the season. Paul Pogba has revealed that he will be leaving Manchester United in the summer. He has currently told his teammates. A lot of United fans have different perceptions on this. Some United fans, would love him to stay, and some United fans, would love him, to currently go on that. And obviously, we would generate a substantial amount for his departure, plus it would free up our wage bill a bit more, because Paul Pogba is on around 290 grand a week at the club on his current contract, and I think he's now heading into the final year of his contract, is Pogba, but the club do have an option to extend his contract by a further year, but I'm very sceptical that will currently happen. But Paul Pogba does want to leave Manchester United. Revert back to what I said, so he's got the same perception now as what he had at the beginning of last summer, because he did reveal at the beginning of last summer that he wanted to leave Manchester United to rejuvenate his career, and he did say he was seeking for a new challenge. Of course, I think we've slashed around £30 million off his valuation, so I think in the summer we want around £150 million. Of course, last summer we wanted around £170 or £180 million, but Real Madrid were not determined to meet that, and don't forget last summer Real Madrid were relentlessly linked to him. Also, there was rumours about him going back to Juventus, because Paul Pogba did endure 4 good years in training with Juventus. But the vast majority of his performances at Man United since he rejoined back in 2016 have been totally comparison. And yeah, so I think, we need to get rid of Paul Pogba in the summer, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. So I think in the summer he'll either go to Real Madrid. If he doesn't go to Real Madrid, he will make a return back to Turin. But Paul Pogba is still regarded as one of the best midfielders in the world, especially, reflecting on what he did in his 4 years with Juventus. Not only in the January transfer window, not only last summer, also under the Jose Mourinho era, there was a lot of speculation about Pogba leaving the club, because obviously Paul Pogba endured a bad relationship with Jose Mourinho. Obviously, he was, very, delighted when, Jose Mourinho had got sacked. And at one point, Barcelona were in for Paul Pogba. We can afford to lose Paul Pogba anywhere, if we do get Jack Grealish on the board. But Paul Pogba is still an imperative player, because him alongside Bruno Fernandes in our midfield, they would make a fantastic partnership, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Pogba's 26 years of age. He has still got a lot of years ahead of him, and like I said, Manchester United paid £89 million for him. But we made a mistake getting rid of Paul Pogba when he was younger, because obviously he risen up the ranks, in France with Lee Harvey. We got him in, he went through our academy, this was under Alex Ferguson at the time. He did make a couple of appearances, but due to limited appearances, Man United decided to let him go on a free transfer. Then he endured 4 years with Juventus. Then we got him for £89 million. Paul Pogba is currently now into his 4th season at Manchester United, but he has sustained quite a few injuries as a Manchester United player. But, he's not only the one that's going to be leaving in the summer, Pogba. I do believe there'll be around 4 to 5 players at least that do leave the football club in the summer, because he's still problematic players at Manchester United. And I know we have got rid of a lot of the deadwood, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival. I think around 9 senior players have left. Of course, this year we saw Ashley Young leave after he endured 8.5 years at the club. He went to Inter Milan, so we generated money for his departure. Of course, Rojo went out on loan to Estudiantes. Quite a few of our players have gone out on loan. Darmian went to Parma. You saw Herrera go on a free transfer. Marian Fellaini went in January 2019. Of course, Romelu Lukaku went. Maybe it was a mistake by Man United getting rid of him, but we had to get rid of him because he initially lost his place in the team. But Lukaku, to be fair, has done well at Inter Milan. We did generate a substantial amount for his departure because we got 70 odd million for him. So we did recoup the money that we did pay for him from Everton back in 2017. And of course, we loaned Alexis Sanchez out. Obviously Solskjaer did reveal it was last month, he revealed that, Sanchez would have been coming back to prove everybody wrong. But now, we are looking to sell Alexis Sanchez and that. And obviously as well, we did loan Dean Henderson out. Of course, he's doing really, really well with Sheffield United. If he does come back to Manchester United after his loan spell, then hopefully he can do really, really well for us. I think he'll be our number one goalkeeper if he comes back to Manchester United. Of course, David De Gea is our number one at the moment, and he's been our number one for a while as David De Gea. Obviously, he's been very, very poor, at least in last year or last year a half or so. He hasn't, been doing that well. He's been making a lot of mistakes. But overall, David De Gea is still regarded as one of the best goalkeepers in the world. He's been a long-serving here. We've had quite a few long-serving players at the club, and he's still long-serving players now at the football club. So take that into account. David De Gea is now into his 9th season at Manchester United, and he has endured 8 years here. But you can say he's had a good 6.5, 7 years out of the 8 years he's been at Manchester United. He has made 300 Premier League appearances for the football club. And David De Gea is the highest paid goalkeeper in the world, and he's the highest paid at the football club and that. We've obviously got other goalkeepers as well as backups. You've got Romero, that's our second choice. He tends to play in the cup games. You've got Lee Grant there. I don't think Lee Grant's really played that much. But yeah, revert back to what I said, more players I've expected to leave this summer. And obviously, with players that are going to leave in the summer, we're going to generate some more money for their current departures. So I've already said to you, the players that I think need to leave in the summer. I think Phil Jones needs to be moved on because Phil Jones is a liability. He's been a long-serving player at Manchester United, but let's be honest, he doesn't really get his opportunities, Phil Jones. Man United made a mistake last season by giving him a new long-term contract. I think Matic is a liability. He's too slow, too easily predictable in that midfield. He has had a few good games as a Man United player, but I just don't think he complements our midfield, and I think we'll probably lose him on a free transfer at the end of this season because that's when his current contract expires, unless Man United can, get an extension on his contract. Again, we overpaid for him. We paid £40 million in from Chelsea. Got Lingard, Pereira, Chong, they all need to be moved on by Manchester United because Lingard's a liability, Pereira's a liability. I think the only reason we've been playing Andres Pereira a lot this season is because of the injury to Scott McTominay. But now McTominay is closing in, from injuries close to returning. I think now Andres Pereira, will start to be dropped. Basically, Chong, like I said, he's not at that level as yet. Luke Shaw, possibly, we need to move him on because he's struggling for consistency, Luke Shaw, and he's got he's sustained a lot of injuries as a Manchester United player, and Luke Shaw is very injury prone. He's had some good spells as a United player, last season won the double player of the season, reflecting on his good run of performances. Obviously Brandon Williams now anywhere is our first choice left back. Is Brandon Williams. He's a much better solution than Luke Shaw, but he is still inexperienced, is Brandon Williams, because he's in his first season in the senior squad. So possibly, we need a left back, Martial, he's now a liability in that, would I sell him in the summer? If he continues with his bad run of performances, I would sell Martial in the summer. Obviously he's received a lot of criticism recently, reflecting on his bad run of performances. I've been very, very, disappointed with Anthony Martial. Analysing the vast majority of his career with Man United anywhere, Martial's been playing in that number 9 role. Sorry, not number 9. He's been playing on the left-hand side. It's only been this season that he's been playing in that number 9 role. But, you got Steve McLaren coming out saying that, Solskjaer needs to stop playing him in the number 9. And for me, Martial needs to be dropped completely, or he needs to be reverted back to the left-hand side. Odion Ighalo is an out-and-out number 9, and this is where I do believe Manchester United will put him. Martial's been a long servant, he's now into his 5th season at Manchester United. He's Anthony Martial. He's scored 60 goals in 202 appearances in all competitions, since his arrival from Monaco back in 2015. We paid a lot for him. We got him as a teenager. We paid, 36 million, potentially rising up to 57 or 58 million based on goals and achievements, and he's only at the age of 24. Martial's best season at Man United was his debut season under the Louis van Gaal era. That's when we mainly saw the best of Anthony Martial. But yeah, he's definitely becoming a liability. But on the other hand, there's players I would be determined to keep at Manchester United. I'd definitely keep Rashford, because Marcus Rashford has been one of our best players this season. Rashford, of course, is out with a back injury for at least the next couple of months. So we did the right thing by getting Odion Ighalo in on loan until the end of the season, because he's a good cover-up for Marcus Rashford. And of course, he's a good alternative to Anthony Martial. And I do believe Odion Ighalo will get given his chances. I would be, definitely determined to keep McTominay, because I thought before he got injured, he did well in our midfield. I would be determined to keep Fred, because Fred's also done very, very well recently. And I think Fred, you mainly see the best of Fred when he's playing alongside McTominay in our midfield. They do complement each other very, very well. I'd keep Lindelof, definitely. I'd keep the 3 signings that were recommended in last summer. Obviously, I'd keep the vast majority of the young, players like Greenwood. I'd keep Brandon Williams. I'd, keep Tuanzebe. So these 2 players I would be determined to keep at Manchester United, definitely in that. But as you all know, Manchester United are making plans for the summer transfer window. Recently Ed Woodward came out and, he wrote a fans forum. And obviously, he came out and defended the club's recruitment policy, even though a lot of people have, criticised how poor our recruitment policy is. Because our recruitment is something that we do need to improve on, because it has been poor for several years. And in that aspect, the blame stems from the board. And I don't like the way the football club's been run anywhere in the last 6 or 7 years or so. But recruitment is something, definitely Manchester United do need to improve on and that. But Ed Woodward, as assured, there'll be more transfers at Man United in the summer. He has definitely assured this. But I don't think Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be Manchester United manager anywhere in the summer, like I did recently mention. But furthermore, investment is needed in the squad. Of course, since Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's arrival, he's recommended 5 new players in 3 transfer windows. Obviously spent just over £200 million on them. But furthermore, investment is definitely needed in the squad. And there's still deficiencies in the squad that need to be addressed, like I've mentioned. We need a right winger. We need another midfielder, I do believe. I think possibly we need a centre-half, someone who can go alongside Harry Maguire, and then, you can say Lindelof's there. Lindelof is, good as a backup, because we have got a lot of centre-halves in the team, despite the fact, that Chris Smalling, obviously he's on loan with Rome. I forgot to mention him earlier on. Perhaps we made a mistake getting rid of Smalling. We should have got rid of Phil Jones instead of Chris Smalling, to be quite honest with you. Chris Smalling endured 9 years at Manchester United. Obviously, we've still got Bailly and Foster-Mensah. You can say they're also good as backups. They've just recently come back from injury, but it would be beneficial if we could get another centre half in. And Harry Maguire's done well, but despite that, we got him in. Despite us getting Harry Maguire in, we are still conceding goals, so possibly we need a centre-half. Probably, maybe need, a left winger, and then you can say Daniel James would be a good cover-up on the left-hand side. So I think in the summer, Manchester United need around 3 to 4 signings, at least, if we are to be back to where we want to be. For us to be future title contenders, though, we've got to get the right calibre players in. We need to see a change of management. We need to see a variety of changes at the club, like I've mentioned anyway. There's not only problems with the management, there's obviously a lot of United fans have got doubts about the executive, Ed Woodward. They've got doubts about the club's ownership. Or like I mentioned, the board have been a liability for several years. And obviously there's still problems on the pitch because there's still a lot of aspects of our game that do need to improve. And analysing our squad, it's a pretty decent... We've got quite a few decent players in our team. But, it's just not good enough to win the league at the moment. But I think it's definitely not good enough for a top 4 finish. And Manchester United have to get that top 4 this season. It's very, very important that we get that top 4 this season. That top 4 is one of our ambitions this season. We are still in that top 4 race. We are 6 points behind top 4 at the moment. We're 6 points behind top 4. The game against Chelsea probably will decide who finishes in the top 4. If Chelsea win, top 4 is over, because that will mean then we are 9 points behind top 4. But if we win, on the other hand, we will go 3 points behind. And obviously, we've said we will sack Solskjaer on one condition, and that is if Man United finish out of the top 6, and if we fail to qualify for Europe, then Ole Gunnar Solskjaer will be sacked as Manchester United manager. Possibly, could be sacked anywhere. Some people believe Anthony Martial could get him sacked. If Odi Nagalo doesn't hit the ground running quickly, he also could get Solskjaer the sack and that. But Solskjaer is aware that he is under intense pressure at Manchester United, because we are enjoying our worst start to a Premier League season in 30 years. Since Solskjaer got the job permanently, he has lost more games in the Premier League than he's won. So his record is disastrous. But he isn't the right manager for Manchester United and that. But, like I said, we're making plans for the summer. I've just been reading recent reports as well, and it does say that Solskjaer is going to get around 274 million to spend in the summer. And I did say we're going to spend a substantial amount on recruiting new players in the summer. I can't actually estimate how much Manchester United have got, but I know, we have obviously got a lot of money because we're one of the biggest clubs in the world, one of the richest clubs in the world and that. I know a lot of people talk about us, being in debt and stuff like that, but we have got a hell of a lot of money, definitely. And obviously, it's looking likely in the summer that Manchester United are going to sign Jadon Sancho. It's looking very, very likely that we're going to sign Jadon Sancho. I'm going to delve into the topic now, by the way, about Jadon Sancho. As you all know, it confirmed today saying that, Jadon Sancho has agreed to join Manchester United this summer. Obviously, quite a few clubs have been in for him, Real Madrid, Liverpool, they've been in for Jadon Sancho, so too have Chelsea. But I think Chelsea have completed the signing of Hakim Ziyech from Ajax. So this is another main explanation why Manchester United now are the favourites to sign Jadon Sancho. It has been revealed how much he'll cost us. He will cost us around cost us 120 million. But Borussia Dortmund did confirm that they want at least £100 million for the player. Manchester United are set to offer Jadon Sancho around £200,000 a week. So that means in that aspect he will be one of the highest paid players at Manchester United. But us paying 120 million, that means he will be our most expensive signing in that. So that is a lot of money, for a 19-year-old. But I've got to be honest, he's one of the best youngsters in the world, is Jadon Sancho. And I'd love him at Manchester United. I think he'd fit our system very, very well. And I'd love him to be in the mix, alongside Bruno Fernandes, Marcus Rashford, Daniel James, Anthony Martial. He'd complement our attacking line, really, really well with Jadon Sancho. But Jadon Sancho has revealed that his preference is a move to Manchester United. Borussia Dortmund have confirmed themselves he will be leaving in the summer. Jadon Sancho has enjoyed a very, very difficult season with Borussia Dortmund, this season. He's been dropped in a lot of games. Of course, he's still under contract with Dortmund until 2022. But I think in his first season with Dortmund, he was very, very good. He was good in his second season. Mainly, he's been a revelation in Germany's Jadon Sancho. But, he wants to reunite in the Premier League. And him coming back to the Premier League is very beneficial for his career. In the Bundesliga, Jadon Sancho has made 85 appearances in all competitions. He's made 65 appearances in the Bundesliga and scored around 25 goals. as you know, Jadon Sancho. This is, what he's done. He's already played in the Premier League because don't forget he served a couple of years at Man City, but never really got his opportunities at Manchester City. Did Jadon Sancho? Never really got his opportunities. Well, first team opportunities. So this is the main explanation why I left City to join Dortmund. Dortmund are going to make They're going to make £113 million profit. Because you only got him for about £7 or £8 million from Manchester City. So take that into account. He's predominantly a right winger, but you can also play him centrally, and he will fit Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's transfer strategy perfectly. If Solskjaer was still to be in the summer transfer window, he would be our 6th signing overall under the Solskjaer era, but I don't see him, being here in the summer, if I'm going to be quite honest with you. Possibly if we was to, qualify for the Champions League and we was to finish within the top 6, then there'd be possible chance that Solskjaer, would be given another season, because this is his first full season at Manchester United at the moment and that. But Jadon Sancho would dramatically improve us in that. So yeah, it's looking likely if recent reports are to be believed, and there's a lot of credibility in it because when it's coming from Sky and that, because Sky Sports is a very reliable source. But we're paying him around 200 grand a week. That's been confirmed. And, there's not only Jadon Sancho on our agenda, you've got, obviously, rumours coming out about Jack Grealish and James Maddison. Of course, if we are to get them, it's going to cost us around £160 million. So, say we get Sancho, Grealish and James Maddison, that's going to cost us £280 million. Obviously, £160 million for Maddison and Grealish, and £120 for Jadon Sancho. That's £280 million on 3 players, and that is a hell of a lot of money. So that'll be, almost £500 million spent in 2 windows. If Solskjaer was to be still at Man United, because Solskjaer's spent around £200 million since he's come in. Adding, if we are to get them 3 players in the summer, that would be nearly £500 million spent, in the past few windows. Well, in 3 transfer windows, because, Solskjaer brought 3 players in last summer and that, But we do want Jack Grealish, like I mentioned, and I think his preference is a move to Man United is Jack Grealish. He wants to come to Manchester United. Real Madrid, Barcelona and City have been in for him. He's on around £100,000 a week at the moment with Aston Villa. But obviously, we can increase his wages, Jack Grealish. Reportedly, he was searching for a house in Manchester the other day. And reportedly, I think it cost us around, would he cost us around 60 million or something like that? He's got a 45 million release clause in his contract. Jack Grealish is proven in the Premier League, well proven. Up until this point, he's spent the entirety of his career with Aston Villa. He can play as an attacking mid. He can also play as a winner. He's still got a contract over Villa till 2023. But, even if he doesn't leave in the summer, at some point he's going to want to leave to rejuvenate his career and take his footballing career to the next level. But I'd love Jack Grealish in. I'd also like James Maddison. Our preference is actually Maddison over Grealish because I don't know why, it just is. Obviously, he's closing on signing a new contract. That's what it said recently. But now we're trying to get both players in. So we're planning a £160 million transfer swoop and that. So we are making, big plans for the summer. Now, Mauricio Pochettinho, it's looking very, very imminent. He's going to be Manchester United's next manager. Obviously, reports have been coming out saying that Pochettinho wants, the Manchester United job. Obviously, like I updated, more speculation had been fueled, when Mauricio Pochettinho, was at Griffin Park alongside one of Ed Woodward's new advisors, Neil Ashton, spectating the Brentford and Leeds game at Griffin Park. Of course, Pochettino has, said he'd love a return to the Premier League, so he still wants to continue in managing in England because obviously he's well proven in the Premier League. He's managed 2 Premier League clubs. He managed Tottenham for 5.5 years. Obviously reflecting on his sacking from Tottenham last year, he basically said he wanted an immediate return to management anyway. This is what he said. And before he was at Tottenham, he was at Southampton. He enjoyed a really short tenure with Southampton, but guided them to their highest ever finish. And before that, he was at Espanyol. So at the moment, Pochettino has managed 3 clubs in his managerial career. So when he comes to Man United, if he does, which is more than likely, that will be the 4th club he's managing in his managerial career. But I think he would be the right manager for Manchester United. Like I said before, I'm not saying that we're going to win the league or mount any kind of title challenge up under him, but we'll just look a much better team. My only element of concern, Pochettino hasn't won out in terms of silverware, but he recently came out and said, his legacy is more important than winning silverware. We've been long admirers of Pochettino. We should have got Pochettino in, after the sacking of Jose Mourinho, but we didn't. We went with Solskjaer instead of Mauricio Pochettino, but we should have got him in after the sacking of Jose Mourinho. He has been linked to quite a few other managerial roles. Atletico Madrid are the latest team to be in for him. Real Madrid have been long admirers of him. Bayern Munich were in for him earlier on in the season, but he's keen on coming to Manchester United. He's Pochettino. And like I mentioned, did well at Tottenham. Tottenham made a mistake sacking him. He guided Tottenham to their first ever Champions League final last season. He got them to fourth place finishes. I think got them runners up one season, got them third one season. So Tottenham were competing in and out of the top 4 in the vast majority of his tenure. But then in the last couple of years, Tottenham, became title contenders under Mauricio Pochettino and that. But, I expect in the summer Pochettino to be our new manager, and I expect Jadon Sancho to come in. So this is what I expect to see in the summer. We're not going to get him before the end of the season because that means then, we'd have to pay Tottenham around £10 million in compensation. But Pochettino is definitely, coming to Manchester United and that because he is, keen on coming in. And if we do recommend him in, he will be our 5th permanent manager since the Alex Ferguson era. Solskjaer's our 4th permanent manager at the moment, but, we've sacked 3 managers already since the Alex Ferguson era. We sacked David Moyes after 9 or 10 months. We sacked Louis van Gaal after a year or so, despite the fact he won the FA Cup. And, we did sack Jose Mourinho after he enjoyed a 2.5-year tenure at the football club. He's enjoyed the longest tenure with the club since the Alex Ferguson era, but he did win the Europa League and the League Cup in his first season with Manchester United and that. But, it's not always, the right solution, sacking managers persistently. Because Manchester United are not really known for the sacking football club anywhere. But, a lot of money has been spent at Manchester United. I think we've spent £1 billion or nearly £1 billion in the last 6 or 7 years. And this is disregarding, what was spent under Alex Ferguson. But on the other hand, Ferguson did develop a lot of young players. So yeah, nearly £1 billion has been spent. Like I mentioned, we've got the highest wage bill in the Premier League. I think around 31 players have been recommended into Man United since Alex Ferguson's retirement back in 2013. Of course, David Moyes spent £67 million, I think. He brought Juan Mata and Fellaini in. Juan Mata, of course, is still here. Fellaini left in January 2019. Then, Louis van Gaal, he spent around £258 million. He recommended a lot of players in. He brought the likes of Falcao, Di Maria, Memphis Depay, Daley Blind, Morgan Schneiderlin, Sebastian Schweinsteiger. Obviously Martial, he's still here. Luke Shaw, he's still here. So, Louis van Gaal, did bring quite a few in. And then obviously, Jose Mourinho, he recommended 11 players into the football club and he spent around 400 million or just under 400 million pounds. And, the vast majority of these players are Jose Mourinho's that, Ole Gunnar Solskjaer is inheriting. So take that into account. So Solskjaer is basically still in the process of rebuilding this Manchester United team and that. And Solskjaer believes if he's given the right amount of time, he can emulate into the next Jurgen Klopp. He can build a team like Liverpool's, but he's not going to emulate into Jurgen Klopp. So that's something, we've got to accept. But regardless of who our manager is, like I've mentioned before, whether it's Solskjaer, whether it's Pochettino, whether it's any other manager, they won't invoke Ferguson's legacy at Manchester United. Ferguson, it was unbelievable what he accomplished at the club. He enjoyed, 26, 27 years at Man United, but he didn't win out in his first 4 years at the football club, did Alex Ferguson. So take that into account. So take that into account and that. I think Manchester United need to recommend a director of footballing. We should have actually got a director of footballing last summer, but we didn't get one in, unfortunately. And there was quite a few former Man United players linked with that role last summer. But I did say, didn't I, that's one of the structural changes that we need to see at the football club, is getting a director of football in. And then obviously if we got one in, then Ed Woodward can move away from the footballing decisions like I mentioned, because Ed Woodward has been our executive chairman since 2012. So yeah. And recently been reading up as well, Solskjaer's been urged to build a team around 5 players. This is what Solskjaer has been urged to do, basically, in that. But yeah, I expect to see Sancho and Pochettinho here in the summer, but we've got to make more signings in the summer, definitely, without a shadow of a doubt. And very, very big game against Chelsea coming up, on Monday. The preview will be coming up for that. It probably will be tomorrow, or it will be Saturday, and that, giving you a build up to the game. And we've got to get back to winning ways in the Premier League, because, we are winless in our last 3 Premier League games, and we haven't even scored in our last 3 Premier League games. And we're sitting 8th in the Premier League at the moment. We're not in the position that we should be in. Analysing at the moment, City are strides ahead of us, Liverpool are strides ahead of us. And it's going to take us time, to completely emulate to their level. So if we could get Sancho, if we could get Grealish and Maddison in the summer, I would be very, very delighted in that. But when you're not in Champions League football, it's going to be hard to attract players to the elite level. So if we can get Champions League football secured, that is obviously, of course, more beneficial for Manchester United in that. I also want to say as well that, McTominay, I think, is going to be back for Chelsea, because Solskjaer's provided us with an update on him, and he said, McTominay he's been part of the warm-up training camp, but he's recovering well. Bayin Fosamento, as well know about, Tuanzebe is on his way back. So yeah, more players are coming back from injury, which is very, very good to see. Be interested to see how he approaches the game against Chelsea. Presume Fernandes will be making his 2nd Premier League appearance. We need to keep Bruno Fernandes in that number 10, because he looks better in an advanced role, because that's obviously, Bruno Fernandes' predominant position and that. But the starting 11 prediction will be coming up very, very soon. I may do the starting 11 prediction tomorrow, we shall see. But yeah. So anyway, guys, drop your comments, likes below on the channel if you do consider a subscribe as always, and take care, God bless, and I'll see you all again soon.